Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, this is Austin here, bringing you guys a new series PvT between Millennium Feast, the blue Protoss at the bottom left of Atlantis Spaceship, up against Startail Bomber, the orange Terran at the top left. This is from the RSL, Russian StarCraft 2 League. There have been other nicknames associated with it. I think Ritmix was one of them or something of that sort, but according to Wikipedia, it is at least a Russian-based StarCraft 2 league. This is from the group stages of that league, best of 3 style between the Korean on Startail Bomber and Feast, the Belgian Protoss. These two players were at the top of their group entering this series. So the victor of this best of 3 will definitely receive optimal seeding for the round of 8 or round of 16. I don't remember offhand which round this was in, either round of 32 or round of 16. I know there were something like 2 group stages in that tournament, so I will have to get back to you in game number 2 and tell you what exact position in the tournament this was from. I meant to cast this series a lot earlier this week. I actually did cast, quote-unquote, game number 1 before, so I do know the result, but I'm still quite vague on it. But my fraps wasn't on. I have these retarded technical difficulties sometimes. Not even difficulties, I'll just go into the game, okay, let's go, F9P, let's cast, and then I finish, go to my fraps folder, and I'm like, where's the game again? So, this time around, I do know for a fact I'm recording. I've checked once, I've checked twice, and Bomber is building a second supply depot here to complete his wall, while Feast is getting a regular gateway. Nothing out of the ordinary. He's an up-and-coming player, I would say. I remember hearing a while back that Grubby is personally tutoring him or something of that sort. Millennium, of course, the French-based team. Stefano recently left in favor of EG, which was quite a large announcement, and gained EG some favor with me. I've always been something of a fan. I like Idra's macro-oriented style, and I think Jip is a solid player. But adding Stefano definitely overall solidified EG's roster as one of the best among North America, always vying for that top spot with Team Liquid. Recently in the IPTL Premier Division, not so recently, about a month ago, EG was able to win 5-3 or 5-4 over Liquid, with Stefano beating Tasia. Now Bomber going for a factory here at the proxy location. Feast has no idea of this, and we'll have to see how long it will take him to get an idea of it. He's just chronoing out a Stalker and now has another one queued up, chronoed as well, with his Warp Gate coming at a fairly standard timing. It seems as though he's going to go for a 1-gate expand, expecting his opponent to go for 1 Rax fast expand, as a lot of Terrans who go for the quick second supply depot tend to do so in order to prevent scouting into their main. They get this quick wall off and then build a command center right afterwards. What Feast doesn't know is that his opponent has completed a factory outside of his base and now has a starport on the way, so Hellion Banshee or maybe Medevac Hellion to drop them in the main and deal some devastating damage. That is a harassment strategy with excellent potential. This is 3 Marines versus 2 Stalkers. Bomber microing quite well. Feast unable to pick off any of these Marines, and in turn he takes... This Stalker does have 2 kills, but I mean any of these 3 remaining Marines. The Stalkers are at about half health. This other one here at 55 in the yellow, which, of course, from a Protoss point of view, there's no repairing that. Feast is getting a Nexus now. Well, Bomber has no such plans. No CC even building. It seems as though he's sending an SCV out now to build one. However, he does have exactly 400 minerals, now surpassing that mark. Should be building a command center any second now. He's got a Medevac and Hellion on the way. Feast has scouted this though, so that could actually make a huge difference here. Never ideal for a Terran player who is proxying Hellions and Medevacs to be discovered by their opponent. Here is the 1 Hellion moving in here now. An okay force field there from Feast. So not accomplishing anything really, just forcing the Hellion forward. Bomber lost nothing there, but he is going to load up 3 Hellions total, one of them in the red. We'll have to see if he's able to line up a nice few volleys off on Feast's probes. There are 2 stalkers here on the perimeter from our Belgian Protoss, Jeremy Van Snick. And he is able to deal some damage to the medevac. There are 3 Hellions in here. Will they be able to get good probe kills? Only one has died so far. One medevac dying, now a second one dying, and the third and final medevac shortly will fall. Bomber is getting a Banshee. He did add a tech lab onto this starport, but that did not accomplish very much outside of a handful of probe kills. He's got 4 total. I don't think too many of them were from that Hellion assault. Feast now getting his Robo Bay and double gas as natural, so he will be going into Colossi, probably going to try to hit a strong timing in light of his opponent. I would even say be as ballsy as to say miserably failing this harass. He is now bringing his Banshee into the main of Feast. He's able to pull it out without sustaining too much hull damage to it. It's at about half health. Yet he has been forced out of his proxy location. The starport, is it going to be burning? Nope. He will be able to save it very marginally so. The tech lab remaining here for Bomber. So he did not accomplish too much. 7 total workers killed, thrown his opponent off a bit, kept him on edge, expanded on the back of this. Harvester count is only 6 difference. The army supply is similar, so I wouldn't say Bomber lost the game as a result of this harassment. He just wanted to scare Feast, make him think he's going all in and playing super unconventional, when in reality he was just proxying a couple medevacs and Hellions and a Banshee afterwards, trying to make it seem as though he was overcommitting. His Banshee does have 3 kills, and Feast moving out with an observer is going to be able to see exactly what his opponent's up to. Bomber going to have to land his starport ASAP. That is a bonus. He does have a starport readily available to begin producing Vikings and or medevacs to counter the Colossi of his opponent. Let us see how much he's scouted, not counted. Nothing of the... He knows the Robo Bay is on the way, so he does know what he's up against, but it will take him quite some time to be able to get enough Vikings out. And he does need medevacs for his bio, so he'll likely have to get double starport. He is landing his starport and building 1 medevac. Probably going to add another on as soon as he gets sufficient gas for it. So, not so questionable decision from Bomber. He is, however, grabbing his 3rd base along with Feast proxying down here towards the 3rd, and now moving up and building a very audacious proxy pylon close to Bomber's 3rd. Does our Terran player know about it? Not even. It just barely in the fog of war here. Bomber's SCV, it's just so... Oh, that just makes me... I can't even believe this, how close it is for Bomber not to be able to see Feast's proxy. Extended thermal lance shortly going to finish for our Protoss player. He's pushing in now. Bomber's going to have to hunker down and try to defend at his natural. This 3rd is just a necessary loss for him at this point. He has 3 Vikings on the way, but none on the field currently. Feast is going to have to force field well, and he does. He needs the 3rd force field here, and he gets it. The bunker shortly dies. This is going to be a close engage. The army supplies are close, but Feast does seem to have a very nice engagement position. This Colossus dealing a lot of damage, but now the 3 Vikings will finish as Feast pulls out and reinforces. He got a 2nd Colossus now. It seems as though the Banshee is going to be pulled back to help Bomber defend. He needs to use everything he's got. A couple of Marauders here trying to engage these Stalkers, but the Colossi forcing them back. The 3 Vikings have come out now along with the Banshee. They're going to destroy one of the Colossi. Will Feast's other Colossus die? Yes, this is an incredibly close engage. And I called the Colossus' death a little earlier than I should have, but it still did die. The 2 Vikings landing now, one of them engaging from the high ground. It will deal some damage, getting a couple of kills, but Feast is able to reinforce here off his proxy pylon close to the 3rd, and that could be a difference maker here. He's almost a double supply of his opponent. It's looking really good for our Belgian Protoss. That Viking taking a very long time to die. Just get on with it already. All we care about is whether or not Feast is going to be able to pull this one off. Bomber still does have a reasonable force, but the Zealot's forcing it back. Will Feast get a force field off? Not quite. He could have split that force in half. Now he is going to force field off the main ramp and kill his opponent's natural show slowly but surely. I was so excited to say that I couldn't even manage to blurt it out. Now Feast wanting to engage this bio force at the best possible position. He's sniping a Marauder there. Generally takes Stalkers quite a while to kill one, but there are so many Stalkers on the field here for Feast, it doesn't even matter. He is going to kill the natural CC. The third took quite a while to die because Feast was too focused on reinforcing. He can literally just camp outside of his opponent's base and again eventually get Twilight Council and use an OBS to blink in. So even if Bomber is able to hold off for the time being, Feast has the contain that he wants. He's carving away at his opponent's supply depots with some Zealots. Soon enough, Bomber will be supply blocked. There is already an observer on the field here from Feast, and he force fields off, able to snipe a few SCVs, trapping most of the army units in the main. Bomber is probably going to have to pick up some of his units and drop with the hopes of having a miracle engage. Hardly any mining ongoing in Bomber's main. Feast is at 110 population. He's got his third Nexus on the way. Everything looking just perfect in his main base. He's got a Colossus now up here, and it looks as though Bomber is going to drop outside of his own base and now pull all of his units over, stimming up and moving out. He's trying to get a good two-pronged engage. He's got a couple of Vikings here trying to take down this Colossus. Will it be enough? All of his SCVs pulled. It looks like Feast is still going to stay alive here. There goes the Colossus, and it looks like Bomber might actually be able to snipe all of Feast's forces. But the question is, does that even matter? The population difference so huge. Bomber mobilizing across the map now, but he has lost so very much. Feast is just going to warp in a handful of gateway units at his main, chrono out his gates. I thought he would chrono out his Colossus, but doesn't matter. I guess the more units, the merrier for him at this point. Bomber moving out with absolutely everything. He hardly has any mining. There are several Zealots just ravaging the main, racking up a number of kills. So Bomber just going to have to hope for a phenomenal engaged army supplies. 49 to 32, but the worker supplies are really where it's at. Feast has an impressive bank. The Colossus now going to 2 Colossi on the field. Need to be careful with how they engage their opponent. Feast pulling probes, recognizing the value of this, the importance of this engagement. There's the mule there from Bomber, the GM mule. He knows he's lost this game. He's just going to dance his medevacs around a little bit, and he calls the GG and leaves. So Feast, to my surprise, I thought Bomber would be a favorite entering this series, is able to emerge in dominant fashion. He just executed his defense quite well and was able to bottle up Bomber and proxy perfectly in this nice little niche here. So guys, I hope you enjoyed game number 1. Game number 2 will start with Feast up 1-0. Catch you guys then.